Welcome to the Orchard Hard Drive. UFO by Michael Muto. My name's Sam. About 2 years ago I was abducted by aliens. Well, I say abducted, I wouldn't say that exactly. Was I beamed up and taken away? Yeah. But it was alright. Anyway, all this happened like 2 years ago. I was off for a walk in the early morning. I love going for a walk as the sun is rising before I go into work. The fresh air, the way the sky looks at different times of the year, it's gorgeous. I get up before my wife wakes and quietly have breakfast and leave to start my day. And this day, 2 years ago, was no different. I headed out at about 5 o'clock and started on my usual route. A beautiful morning. The sun was rising. There were clouds streaking across the sky. A beautiful orange sky that morning. Then I saw it. A huge UFO. Well, no, I'm wrong. It wasn't a UFO. It was a flying saucer. Can't be an unidentified flying object if I know what it was, sure. Anyway, the thing is, this thing sailed through the clouds. I stood there on the side of the road, mouth open. At first I didn't know what it was. I thought it was some kind of plane or something. I don't know. I was trying to rationalize it in my head. It was this huge craft. It whirred loudly as it lowered. I was frozen in fear. Then it came closer to me. There was movement. Some things spun around and a light moved facing me. It turned on, and I was surrounded in this green light. Then it kind of felt like jelly, but light. I don't know, it's tough to describe, but it floated me up towards the ship. A door opened, and I was popped inside. I was on this metal floor, and I didn't move for a second. I couldn't really take in what had happened to me. Then a door opened. And these things appeared. They were in silhouette and I couldn't get a great look at them. I felt hands grab under my arms and lifted me up. I tried to ask who they were, where I was, but they didn't answer. They brought me into this big room in the centre and there was a table. One of the creatures pointed towards the table and I walked over and sat in it. One then pulled out a chair and grunted, as if to say, "Sit here, you dope." I got off, but kicked the lamp that was on the table, and it broke on the ground. I said I was sorry and sat in the chair. One then made an awful noise, and the other one went to clean up the broken lamp. Then the first one, the one who made the noise, started to look through papers and a computer that was off to the side, and looking at me. They'd take little notes on the computer and then hold up some paper to read. I was asking, who they were and what they wanted. They still didn't answer. Then I asked where they were from. No answer. One then started lifting up one of my legs and looking at my shoe. Then the other one be looking at the top of my head. I had at this point started to settle in. It wasn't too bad here, I thought. The lovely table and the chairs were nice enough. They seemed alright, The aliens were curious, and I liked the attention. I was asking how long it took to get to Earth. How much mileage did I get in a machine like this? Did they have petrol stations in space? Were they actually from space? What's space like? What happens if they need repair in a yoke like this? Can they pull into a space garage? One made a noise and I can't be sure what they meant, but they went back looking at my clothes and the other one looking at my eye with some device. Then I asked if they had a toilet. I asked if they used the toilet. I was about to ask how they used the toilet when one picked me up by my arm and led me to the door. They were mumbling something as they dragged me along. Now, I still had questions. What kind of music did they like? How did they listen to music? Did they have ears? What kind of food did they like? Then the door opened and a long ramp lowered. One alien kept kind of nudging me to go. I asked if they wore shoes. Now at this point they made a noise that really did sound like they were a bit annoyed, which I was like, well, you're after picking me up and looking at my shoes in the top of my head. Why can't I ask a question? Anyway, I thought I'd try a new track. I said, how the weather had been nice here lately. What was the weather like where they were from? I asked if they even had weather. Did they ever get caught out in the rain when they thought it'd be nice, but they actually did need a coat? Did they have coats? I tried to see if they had legs. Now, it looked to me like they had tentacles. I said, it must be some job getting trousers on those yokes. It was here that they shoved me. Now, that annoyed me. Like, there's no reason to be rude. Well, I was shoved off the ramp and that yoke took off fair fast. Anyway, all in all, not too bad. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but not too bad. Rude, but other than that, grand. Never saw him again. But I do wonder, where were they from? Who were they? Did they like my shoes? What about my coat? Was it fashion tips they were after? Because I don't know if I'm great at the old fashioned. Now, my wife gets me a few bits every now and then, and I'll wear those, But anyway, that's my story.